All right, ready to do this shit?
Live from Kentucky and Louisiana, two Marines, one mission. This is Sense and Senseless. From the hills to the bayou, stories collide. Brothers in arms, now we're side by side. Sense and senseless, we cut through the noise. Two Southern Marines with that rebel voice. Grab a seat, pour a drink, let's make some sense. Or none at all, it just depends. Sense and senseless.
Welcome back to Sense and Senseless. I'm Brian,
I'm Jason.
and he is Jason. Tonight we have a lot to talk about. We'll simplify the deep state, as well as talk about AI and how your neighbor might be fucking a robot. Stay tuned. We got a lot of shit to discuss. But first, let's go over some current events. So the other day, when was it? When was that lady got shot in Minnesota? Like, I think it was Wednesday.
Yeah, something like that.
And then the mayor comes out and he does his press conference. And, he's cussing and, fuck ICE and whatever he's saying, teach their own. And
Mhm.
I don't condemn him for what he says. I mean, you say what the fuck you want. I mean, it's America. But
Right.
I noticed there's a lot of fucking people now that want to act like Trump. When Trump first came on the scene and he was going to be a politician, and to date, they'll say that he's not politician-like. You know, he's just too raw. He's not. I don't know how you'd say it, shined up enough or whatever.
Yeah,
he's not
polished. He's not
he's
polished,
not polished. Yeah,
as a politician. Yes.
exactly. There you go. He's not a polished politician. That's the way to put it.
Mhm.
And they condemned him for it. And now these other politicians are trying to show their authenticity.
Yeah.
Yet I don't see it in them. It's they're faking it. And you can
Yes.
see that they're faking it.
Well,
So if Trump's way of doing things and the way he was didn't work, why would they try to fake the same shit that he brings to life?
because it worked. It worked.
But do you see what I'm saying?
Next, we'll go to the next one now. I mean, because it worked, Brian. I mean, damn. There's
I
nobody.
guess my point is, do you see the same shit though? When you see other politicians talk, they cuss more today than I think they've cussed, in 10 years total.
Yeah, like JD Vance, I'm gonna call him out. So he had that press conference about this ICE agent and all that. And he's not that normal. It doesn't sound like a normal vice president, or I mean, even Pence when Trump was the first time, right? He kind of
he was. Oh yeah, he was like, you could tell he was trained by politicians as he grew up.
Yeah, he was groomed and all that stuff. So, and he stayed in that role even with Trump. But Vance, even Hegseth, he.
I think most of his cabinet aren't like fucking true politicians.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Vance is. I mean,
I don't think he's not a true politician.
I don't think he's been in it maybe long enough to do it. Who are you calling out? Who do you think? Like Rubio or?
No, I'm not talking about any of those guys. I think all of those guys are authentic. I think every one of them are authentic.
You think like Schumer or?
Schumer, tried to be more authentic. The one famous one he got is whenever he's trying to look like a man for 4th of July one year, and he got all the hamburgers on the fucking on the barbecue pit, and they all raw. They got a piece of cheese on it.
Yeah. As soon as I throw it on the grill, I throw the cheese to it, baby. I let it cook with the meat,
And around the same time, the old Pocahontas lady, I think I'm gonna have a beer. And she goes,
AOC.
Beer, No, the Pocahontas lady. I can't remember her name. She went through life like getting all this shit because she was like an Indian. and then the
Okay.
DNA thing come out, 23andMe and stuff like that, and she took it and she was like point something percent Indian.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she trying to act like she, like, three-quarter Indian,
Oh,
and she
something
trying
like
to
that. Yeah, she
yeah,
was getting all kind of shit because she was Indian. Well, anyway,
she probably she probably said that 23andMe was bullcrap too, right? She probably said it
well,
was
yeah, I don't know exactly. Yeah, but you probably right. She probably went against it. And
yeah,
then now they have that black lady out of Texas. Everything she gets on, she's just cussing. Yeah,
yeah,
and you'll see like Rachel Maddow now. She'll say cuss words every now and then. You got people loosening up, and that guy the other day, the mayor from Minnesota,
right,
dropping the f bomb, and Trump made it cool to be authentic.
right,
And the guys that he brought in my opinion, are not your basic politician. They're
right,
just guys, and they're just being authentic. These other guys are seeing how this shit it actually works to be
mm,
authentic. The people will actually respond to authenticity. And I think these Democrats are starting to see that and they're like, okay, I can do that too. But the problem is that's not who you are. You
yeah,
can fake it to some people, but for the people that really follow, that voted for Trump because of what he is and the way he talks,
mhm.
you can see through that kind of shit.
Uh, I'm trying to think of what comedy movie, like Adam Sandler movie or something like that, where he got this person got made fun of for being a certain way or doing stuff a certain way, and then come to find out everybody liked that because he was being authentic. So then the people making fun of him try to do it too, and then they were all like looking at them like they were weirdos. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's like, what are
That's
you
not who they
doing? Like,
were.
yeah, yeah, that's not how this works. This
No,
dude is being him, you be you, and you're trying to be him now because he's got popular for it. And that's what they're doing, man. They're just these sunbucks will they're like sheep, dude. They'll follow anything, man.
I'm glad you said that because that makes a lot of sense. I didn't think of it in that realm that
Yeah.
they're following the trend.
Yeah.
So Trump set a trend that they don't want to acknowledge they follow, but
Right.
technically they following the trend.
Right. Yeah. It's funny.
They're pop stars.
The pop stars, baby.
All right, let's move on.
We're
So
we're gonna get some more votes.
this Minnesota shooting,
Yeah.
I looked at this thing in multiple angles. I watched people break it down. And
Well, now they got
first,
the body cam. Have you seen that
yes,
one?
yeah, I seen that one too. And I think either way you look at it, if you slow it down, you can argue either side pretty efficiently.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not saying what the guy did was wrong because honestly, in that moment, what he did, if he was trained properly and he was in right sound of mind,
Uh-huh.
he did what he thought he needed to do to survive.
Uh-huh.
Period.
Uh-huh.
And I can't put myself in his shoes to judge how he was feeling at that time.
Uh-huh.
So that being said, if you look at the videos and you look at it in unbiased ways, there's multiple things that you can look at and argue both sides. And that's a problem, and the other problem I have, and I have to agree with the Democrats on this, and I hate to even say that, was how fast, the White House come out, to say that this was like domestic terrorism. I, I'm not going to say that the way they treat nice is bullshit,
Yes.
period, you
Yeah.
know, and the way they going after them. And you can about imagine how amped up they are all the time because people are steadily fucking with them.
Uh-huh.
So I get that.
Yeah, they got convoys of people going after them. I mean, that's not
Yeah,
good.
they're human.
Right.
There's only so much they can do, and I would hate to think that this shooting was out of aggravation,
Right.
but I can say I would understand that,
Right.
and I don't think that's the case. But if it was, as a man, and just knowing, not, I can't put myself in that position, but trying to understand what he was going through at that time based off of all the shit that they go through every damn day,
Right.
was that the right choice to him? Probably yes. I give him that.
Yeah, I mean,
But at the same time, I don't think you crucify him, even if you can argue it either way. Y There's so many things that could have stopped that before that happened, and a lot of that was with the lady that was in the car.
yeah.
She could have stopped that too. So we the responsibility has to go both ways. And the problem what I think this is they want you to go into a binary situation to where it's this or this. And to me, this one's a lot muddier than this or this.
Uh, okay, Brian. So here's the deal. This is where I stand with this, and I'm not trying to be insensitive. A woman lost her life. Kids lost their mom, but at the same time, she was deliberately being out there for a certain agenda to try to cause a problem with these guys doing their job.
I
Okay,
agree.
now
I agree.
do I think she was trying to hurt them and take them out initially? No, I don't think so. But I think once they approached her and told her to get the hell out of the car because they were probably fixing to pat her down, maybe put her in cuffs and detain her for impeding, right? For and this will happen to anybody. This will happen with local police if you're doing that, right? So if our local sheriff goes to somebody's house over here to serve a warrant or to arrest somebody and you show up and you try to intervene, they're going to take you down and put you in cuffs and put you in the back of the cop car because you're supposed to stay out of it, right?
Yeah.
That's in Louisiana, that's Kentucky, that's every state
Yeah.
does
I,
that.
I agree with you. I'm not arguing
Okay,
that.
so if she was some innocent person that was just driving around and they were doing some kind of thing and she got caught in the middle of it and they approached her, right?
Hmm.
Think didn't know what she was doing or whatever, and she tried to speed off and like because she was scared, they got guns out, they're doing this, and they shot her. Shame on them, they're wrong. That's not what happened, Brian. This woman willfully came to from Colorado to Minnesota. She's a career whatever person you want to call them that goes out and does this stuff and
This is
tries to impede ICE.
the agitators. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a career agitator.
I agree with that.
And the Democrats need to stop promoting this crap. They're telling them to do this. They're
Well,
promoting people to do this.
they're getting paid, so I mean,
Yeah, well,
yeah. I mean,
okay,
those.
okay.
No, what I'm getting
Do
at.
stupid shit and you're going to get stupid outcomes. That's what I'm getting at, Brian. Stop putting yourself in bad situations.
I agree with you, and
Play
that's
stupid
because
games, you get stupid prizes.
you support the police department. You support I ain't gonna say the government because
No,
I don't even support the government, but I
no,
support
but
this country and I support the stability of this country.
yes, like the
You want what's best
military.
for it, right? I
Yeah,
agree with that.
this would happen
Um,
over in Iraq if we were doing this.
I
If we were trying to detain somebody or whatever, or secure a thing, and somebody try to drive off, but at the same time cut their wheels towards what, like there's somebody in front of your vehicle, that means you're not going nowhere. You're done. Turn the car off.
and I appreciate that honesty because I agree with you. I won't argue
Yes.
that with you. I agree
Yeah.
with everything you said. This is why I bring this up, and I'm glad you stand that way because I stand that way myself.
Right.
But there's a lot of people in this country that don't, and there's news organizations that are not going to show that side, which causes more friction in this damn country.
I
And
know.
no matter what angle you're going to show someone, they can make an argument on why that should have happened or why that shouldn't have happened. And when you look at it, and if you slow it down, if you look at it unbiasedly, you can make that argument. I'm not
Okay.
saying that he was in the wrong, but
Right.
you can make that argument. And being able to make that argument is going to cause a lot more friction.
Okay. This goes back to, Brian, that there's been multiple police shootings
Hmm.
that had the same thing, that this is Groundhog Day. This is a revolving door that keeps happening to the point that I recall watching a 60 Minutes or a Dateline or something where they had a black reporter go with the cop and they put him through a simulator of somebody in a vehicle and they put the black reporter, they gave him a fake gun, right? A fake pistol as a police approaching the vehicle, and they had the simulated person in the car get out and pull a weapon. And guess what the black reporter did? He aimed the gun
Shot him.
and pulled the trigger.
I would
And
assume that he would. It's a human
yeah,
reaction.
that's what I'm getting at. And after that, guess what? The black reporter changed his tune and started being proactive against the police, because when you're that nervous, every time you pull up to somebody's stuff, you got a split second to make a decision. And you're telling people, stay in the vehicle, show me your hands at all times. Do not make a move, please. For the benefit of you and me, keep your hands where I can see them. It doesn't matter if they're an ass or not. When people are stressed, when people are nervous, they turn into assholes. So just comply. Just get through. It might be an hour, whatever. First of all, if you're a paid to go mess around with people person, guess what? That's part of that's part of your what do they call that at work? That
Fringe
where you can
benefit.
get not fringe benefits, but where you can get hurt. And there's certain dangers of your job, right?
Oh, yeah. I know what you're saying, but I can't think of the
Okay,
word.
well, guess what? They should have told you that. Why don't you go sue whoever's paying you to do this stuff, because they didn't tell you, hey, yeah, just letting you know you might get shot doing some of this stuff.
So you
You see,
believe 100% that they have no argument, though? I'm not saying if
no,
it's right or wrong.
no,
Take
I,
that off the table.
no,
That they have no
I,
argument to say.
the dude was in front of her car, not like all the way in front, but he was right there at her headlight, enough that if he didn't move out the way, she was going to hit him.
I agree with you too much to play devil's advocate with you, but I can show you videos that might make you, just because, and not that I want to change your mind. I'm just
Well,
telling you what's out there and what people are looking at. And if you're
okay,
looking at that, it can make you think differently. It depends
okay,
on,
Brian,
it's all
here's
about the algorithm and what they're getting
yes,
in front of you.
I know, but what I'm saying is the first few videos that I seen just showed that pass or the driver's side. I didn't
Yeah.
even see the cop that was in front or the ICE agent that was in front of the vehicle. The dude at the side of the vehicle was covering him up. And I was
Yeah.
like, she didn't swerve that vehicle towards that dude that was talking to her through the window or through the side window.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, that was over aggressive. When I seen the other angle, it wasn't him that shot. It was the dude in front of the vehicle. He
Uh-huh.
approached the side. There was a guy that approached the front, and they kept telling her to turn her vehicle off. And I think they were trying to get her out of the vehicle. And as soon as I guess he seen her make a movement like to put it in gear, then you could see that one dude drew his weapon.
Yep.
And when she sped, I mean, I don't understand what angle you're seeing that there was a guy that was partly in
Okay.
front of that vehicle.
No, then that's what I'm going to tell you. There's a video out there. If you slow that video down, both of his feet can be seen on side of that car before he shoots. Now you can't have both of your feet on the side of the car and be in front of the car at the same time. So there is that argument. And if you slow the video down, you will see that. And I can send it to you. Now, I'm not saying that the guy was in the wrong. I'm just telling you there's enough information out there to make people doubt what was right. And the
Well,
problem is they're not putting the human instinct in this at all.
right. I'd like to talk or real quick to cover something that's happening to a buddy of mine Monday with his son, but I'm not going to bring that up because in best interest of them. But I'm just saying it goes back to that point, Brian. Just we try to teach this. See, we're trying to judge a little bit of data here and there to see if somebody was in the right or in the wrong. If the woman would have kept her butt home and stopped interfering with government officials doing their job, guess what? She'd still be alive.
And I agree with you.
I
The
mean,
problem
that's
is we got a lot of people in this country that won't, and that's going to
yeah.
become a fucking problem.
Well, yeah, they need somebody needs a wake up call and say, is my life worth going out there harassing people doing their job?
Well, I don't even know if they think it's. Some of them probably think it's their life calling because they get to a point to where they think they're doing something really good, and I think it's because they're so empty inside that they just need something every day to validate their life. There's nothing else that can sit there that they can do that would make them feel like they're valuable that day, other than thinking that they're helping someone else that doesn't need to be helped or shouldn't be
Well,
helped.
I love the saying right that I've heard multiple times by people, Brian. If I don't like something that's going on like in the government or whatever, I'm not going to go get in a vehicle and go chase people down and interfere with their work. I'm going to call my congressman. I'm going to vote different. I'm going to do this to try to make changes to that, because doing what she's doing and these other idiots are doing, it's not working. It's not, you're making it worse, is what I'm getting at. What have they done to change anything, Brian? Have they,
Are they?
and,
they
and who's leaking? Well, and I don't want to get stuck on this all night, but who's leaking this information out? Who's leaking where these ICE agents are?
what's sad is
Yeah,
probably somebody that works in the federal government.
it probably is. But if you're out there and you're doing this stuff, find another job. Go work at McDonald's or something. Have respect for your kids and your family, and don't put yourself in harm's way by messing with law enforcement. Stop it. I love, real quick, shout out to Amory King. He's on YouTube. I seen him a long time ago. The dude's funny as heck. I don't know if you've ever seen him. It looks
Uh-uh.
like a Mary, but it's Amory King. But anyways, he would walk around with a cell phone, walk around his house ranting about stuff. He had a bunch of funny videos, but then he would do those. And he was in the jail system. He was in and out of jail a lot. But he said the difference between me and most people that get shot and killed or whatever is when the cop told me to stop, I stopped. When the cop told me to put my hands up, I put my hands up. When they told me to be on the ground, I went to the ground. I followed all instructions that the police gave me, especially when they got a weapon on them. And that's why I never got mishandled, because I was compliant with the police. He said, I promise you, I was in and out of jail. I'm a criminal. The people that get hurt or killed are the ones that don't listen. Start listening, and that won't happen to you.
A lesson by Jason.
A lesson by Jason. Do what you're told. Stop thinking you're a sovereign citizen and you live by your own dang rules. That does not fly over here. Stop it. Damn.
Even that lady was probably born here, and they just, I don't know. They just think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's
Renee
move on
Nicole
from that.
Good. I mean, come on, dude. That's American as heck. There ain't nothing
Look,
immigration about her name. I mean, I'm sorry for looking at her name and saying
I
she
see
could
what you're
be from
saying.
Sweden.
Yeah, she was born.
But
Yeah, I got you. I understand what you're saying now. I was like, where
yeah,
the fuck you going? And then I'll
that's
get you.
that's full blown American right there. I mean,
America.
America. But
America.
anyways,
All right.
next.
Did you see the U.S. government accountability report?
No.
No, Scott Benson came out and he highlighted it.
No.
They were estimating between 300 billion and 600 billion in annual government fraud, equating to roughly 10% of federal spending during recent statements, aimed at recapturing funds to boost the GDP by 1 to 2%. And he said this fraud would include waste in various programs with calls for enhancing tracking and accountability measures under the new administration. So there we are again, finding 3 to 600 billion dollars.
Billion.
I mean,
And
wow.
I love how you say waste. I'm pointing at my computer because I got this up on I got my computer cut in half, my screen. It says waste.
Well,
Dude, come on, dude. Let's stop. Man, I'm going to get on a rant tonight, and there's probably going to be some foul language come out of my mouth. It's not waste. Waste, Brian, is when I eat a meal and don't eat it all, and I put it in the fridge saying I'm going to eat it tomorrow, that I'm going to eat them leftovers right and get the most out of my buck, and I don't touch it. And it just goes bad. And then that's waste. And then I throw it away.
So what are
Why,
they doing?
dude, somebody's stealing money here, man. Somebody's padding their pockets.
Oh,
And
there's a
I'm
whole
sick.
bunch of somebody stealing money.
Why aren't people getting arrested, man? Why are
I
we
agree.
not seeing arrests?
I agree with you, buddy. And then hold on, I just thought about this because I wanted to say this in the earlier one, but you were so riled up, I didn't want to go back
Sorry.
into
Go ahead.
all this
You
stuff,
side
like
me
with the
right
Fed, with the federal government. There's a lot of change. I mean,
Right.
it's fast change, and
Right.
it's hard for people to accept change, even if it's for the good, when it looks bad. So
Right.
whenever somebody gets shot, but yet they're doing so much good and they're getting so much bullshit on them, somebody gets shot, it looks really bad, but they're not looking at all the good. But change is hard,
It is.
especially fast change in a nation.
It
And
is.
now all this money, being found in fraud and being ripped back. I'm hoping that people start to understand exactly what's going on and they'll
Right.
start accepting this change to where they're pushing back to get people fucking arrested.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like eventually they'll start seeing, hey, look, Orange Man bad, but you know, he's uncovering a lot of corrupt shit. They spent 10 years trying to find shit on him. And I'm not saying the man's perfect. He probably got some shit out there somewhere that he got covered up and they ain't found yet. I don't fucking know. But I don't
I
know of
mean,
anybody in this country that's ever been put through more shit than him and didn't have anything found out on him.
the stuff they're
Who?
going after him is BS. But yes, I guarantee we all, what do we say? We all got demons. We all got skeletons in our closet. They're all stuff, shady stuff we've done. I I tell my guys this at work. I'm not saying that I was the perfect child or perfect employee and all this stuff. I'm not saying that, but my job is to do XYZ, right? To make sure you're doing your job the right way and that you're following the processes and procedures and being safe and all this stuff and dotting I's and crossing T's and dotting lowercase J's. Don't forget about the lowercase J's, they get left out. But anyways,
You're right. I always do forget about the lowercase
lowercase
J's.
J's, like, can he not put a dot over that? But anyways, I guarantee Trump has done some shady stuff in business. He admitted in that debate with Hillary, you're right. I did get all out of all them taxes and stuff. I used your cheat codes.
Yeah. So he was doing it within the law.
Yes, he was, but he knew what he was doing.
Well, you would be stupid to have all that money and not use. We would. Well, I probably am stupid because I don't use the law the way we probably should to get all your money back. But if you a billionaire, you would be stupid not to use the loopholes that they give you not to save
Oh,
money.
okay, but Brian, I'm running my mouse circles around this 300 to 600 billion.
Billions.
Okay, I hate to say this, more than likely a lot of that was within the law. And that's a law
Yeah.
created by the
Yeah.
swamp.
Yeah. Yep.
You see what I'm saying? They created that.
So that's probably, yeah, you're right.
Now we call it waste. And that's the funny thing is I don't care who you voted for, how you swing. If you're not in the government, if you're not in that in that cesspool of stuff that we'll cover later, NGOs and all that crap, how could you not be upset about this, man? How could you not be upset that 300 to 600 billion of your money is getting done dirty? Like, it's not going towards nothing that you think it is. It's not making America better. It's making people's pockets fatter, and it ain't yours. And you're out here struggling.
Yeah, and voting for this, all of it's such
Let's
a
come
cesspool.
together on this. Let's come
Yeah.
together on the fraud going on in our government. Let's, if we
And
can't.
that's what I was getting at with the change. If you
Yes.
can get people to quit looking at, I'm not saying you're not supposed to look at that lady that got shot, but I mean that's the focus now. But you're taking
Yeah.
your eye off the ball because they're stealing all this money out your back pocket while
Yeah.
they're doing this over here. And they always going to find something, another shiny ball to put in front of you to where we don't come together. And change is going to come
Right.
once we can all start. Just, just pick one fucking thing that we like together. Pick one fucking
Yes.
thing. Is it the color yellow? All right, we all like the fucking color. Something. It don't have to be
Right.
much. It just pick something.
Right.
I'm sick of this binary shit.
Yeah, I know. There's no reason why we can't find common ground with this stuff, man. I mean, it's like,
It's
well,
yeah, you stealing our fucking money. All of our fucking. The only way I can say we don't find common ground, and this is one reason I can see this, is the amount of people that are feeding off of that system.
right.
And I don't think that outnumbers the people that are putting into that system, which I
Right.
hope it doesn't. And we can look at that one day too.
Right.
And so if you're feeding off that system, I get it. You want that system to stay there, but I would assume that we have more of us that are putting into the system that's feeding
Well,
others, that
do
we
we
can
get
take
into,
control of this.
man? Because Brian, here's the deal. I'm just being honest. Now, hey, I'm all about taking care of people that are struggling. If people are starving and they need a pick me up, I'm fine with welfare. I'm fine with food stamps. What I'm not fine with is what I'm seeing on TikTok where these fools are going out and they're doing like MTV Cribs, showing me all their damn cupboards and their damn refrigerator of what the government just paid for.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And what's funny is people turn them in. And then they show up, and I don't know if it's scripted or not because you can't tell anymore, right? But then all of a sudden they're whining and crying because they got their damn benefits cut. Hey, I'm telling you, people track these people down. They find out who they are, find out where they live.
So they at
People,
least so they're putting
yeah,
themselves out there to show what they got, and then they losing it all because
yeah,
they're stupid.
yeah. Because they want to be they want to be on social media, getting their name out there. Look at me. Look at all the food my kids got. Look at all the food we got. And then all of a sudden, boom.
I bet you there's some older guys that's been on the system a long time, enjoying the
Yeah.
system, mad
Yeah.
as fuck at these young people putting that shit on TikTok.
Yeah. It's like, keep your shit to yourself, people.
Motherfucker,
Like,
you
stop.
realize what we got? God
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah. Keep your mouth shut.
What the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah. Putting hits out on them and shit. So, but what I'm getting, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
It's that
understand exactly what you're
they're
saying.
bragging about it now,
But
Brian. It's not like, hey, man, I know you guys we want to get on board with this too, but man, don't be messing with that welfare stuff because we need it.
and you hate to say that they're stupid because they're smart enough to get that system, but they're stupid enough to brag about it on social media. That
Dude, it was like the girl that was bragging that she was going to Walmart purchasing all them cases of I'm talking like the industrial size cases, the ones that come in that big, probably about 60 sodas on a cardboard box and wrapped
oh
in
yeah.
that thick plastic. And she was taking them out to the parking lot, dumping them out, and then smashing them and taking them and selling them for aluminum to get cash.
So she was stealing them?
No. Her
So
welfare, her
oh
food
god
stamps was paying
damn.
for it.
Oh fuck. Damn.
She had enough money for food for her house for a month and a bunch left over and would go buy them sodas and they finally went out in the parking lot and caught her and turned her in and she lost her shit. And she was freaking flipping out on TikTok. We're
She would
going
have
to
had to do
starve.
that for some kind of stunt or something, because you would have to smash a lot of
Right.
60 can sodas to get
Hey.
$1 on aluminum cans.
Hey, Brian, when you ain't got a job, you got all the time in the world to do it.
Yeah, I get it. Maybe I'm thinking about this, in a logical.
And you're like, I ain't got time for that. Jeez, I work and I go to sleep and I go back to work.
Yeah.
When am I supposed to fit that in? You're not
Yeah,
going to fit it
hell,
in.
I don't
She
even have
is.
time. I don't even have time enough to sit there and scroll and see somebody that stupid do that. So,
Well, I won't tell you when I was watching it, but maybe on a break at work, I was watching it.
well, maybe I do have time, but I chose to do this. So here we are
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah,
All right,
that's
let's
not
move
your
on.
priority. But anyways, go ahead.
All right, so I
Um,
also want to talk about us seizing all these U.S. ships, and we talked about it before with not the U.S. ships, the ships that were seizing from Venezuela, the oil with
the
tankers.
ghost ships.
Yeah, and we had talked about that before, and and I'm kind of torn on that. I support American dominance.
Mhm.
I just we got so much shit going on in our own country. It's like, do we really need to fuck with them? Uh, Do we have to play pirates? I don't know exactly what's going on. I don't think
Right.
anybody really knows what the fuck's going on. Are we really there to help them people? Or are we just there to steal their oil? Do we just want their minerals? If we are there to help them people, I mean, why we just can't get our shit in order first? And say, hey, look, we can go over there and take care of you. Um,
That
what what are your thoughts?
my thoughts are is I know this is a little far fetched. Wonder if Trump, I know he's only been in a year, right? A
Hmm.
year and 2 months. Wonder if he's looking. I'm just being honest. Even JD Vance and all this stuff, he's looking and saying, there's a good possibility that Republicans aren't going to win this after me, and I can't go again. So guess what? Like uh Prestige Worldwide off of Step Brothers, we're here to stuff up.
They're about to
Like he's
burn this
just gonna
motherfucker down.
I'm about to just do what the hell I want to do up in here. I'm gonna I don't know. Is he gonna take over Venezuela? I mean, it sounds like we're gonna put a leash on them, like they're gonna become our pet. Like he married the mom or something, and now Venezuela's our step kid, right? He's
Yeah,
because what did he say? He said it's something to the point when they asked him what was his plans for Venezuela taking that guy. First of all, the Maduro wasn't even the president. Okay, so they need to get off that. We didn't go over to some country and steal their leader
he was
or
the
what
illegitimate president.
yeah. He thought he was, but he wasn't. The people did not vote for him. He wouldn't get out of the way. We went and took
Now,
him. He had a warrant for his
there
arrest.
according to
We
what you see on television, 50% of the country would say we have an illegitimate president. I'd say they're wrong, but tomato,
yeah.
tomato.
Yeah. So what I'm getting at is why all this stuff here? And they did say Venezuela has like a buttload of oil, and it goes even further than that. I didn't realize this. I thought we were in it for the oil. Who gets a majority of their oil from them?
Oh, what is it? Iran and
China.
China and
China.
Russia and
Okay.
Cuba
So
gets oil.
if we shut that down, are we not putting the pinch on China?
I think we are, and
You see
I
what I'm
mean,
saying? It's a backwards move. They
I
keep
gotta.
saying that Trump's playing 3D chess, and I know you've laughed at that before, and you think that's kind of far fetched that he's not playing 3D. Like these people are playing checkers, and Trump's playing 3D chess.
I
But
don't
is
think
he?
he
Is
is
he
because they have the same information he has. He's playing 3D and 4D chess in our heads because we don't have the information that he has.
okay?
So
But
if we had,
still,
if we
if
can see the information that he has, we might be able to make the same decisions. I'm
yes,
not going to sit here and say that that man is able, that he's that much smarter than all of us. I'm just not going to sit here and accept that. Now, I'm not going to say the man's not smart because he's done some great things in his life, you know. But to sit there and say that he's playing on another level that anybody could ever think of, I don't think he's the next thing to Einstein.
but I think like Russia and China run their country like a business, and I think they've been doing that for a long time.
Uh huh. I agree with
You
that.
see what I'm saying? They got a CEO. They don't have a board. It's like a
Well,
family owned
they got
business.
a
You know what I'm
ruler.
saying? Yeah, they
They
got a
have a
ruler.
ruler.
It's a family owned business where you don't have a board of
You have a patriarch.
shareholders and all of that, right? That make these things. So what I'm getting at is he knows that. He knows that business. He knows how to run a business. Well, people will say, well, he went bankrupt. Well, so what? So a lot of
He-
people do. Even broke people go bankrupt, idiots. That's how you get out of stuff you made mistakes on. Everybody makes mistakes. But anyways, it's like he's gonna cripple China's business. He's going to put a pinch on them because we can't let them have everything over us, and they have. I mean, at one time, there's rumors that Fort Knox or the where else they say the gold is, that there's nothing there because China owns it.
Yeah, I think Elon was supposed to go in Fort Knox and check it out. Did he ever go?
I don't know. I never heard that.
Yeah, he was supposed to go in there because they were saying the same thing at the beginning of the presidency, and he was supposed to
Right.
go and do an actual inventory. And
Right.
if he didn't go, there's probably no
It ain't
fucking
there.
gold in there.
Yeah. And then if you watch Die Hard, and I don't know how much that is, it wasn't at Fort Knox. It was over there at the Treasury, right? You know, there it was. They were trying to fool you where it was at because all them dump trucks go in there and get all that gold. But uh, hey, there's a lot to movies.
Yeah,
You'd be surprised when you watch a movie. There's some maybe this is true or something. But what I'm getting at, China has so much over us. They do. They have a lot of control over the United States. They
well,
were
yeah, we
buying
gave it to
land
him.
over here. I
Yeah.
know. So is he taking it back, is what I'm saying, Brian. We have to get something over on them, or we become, they could just walk over here and take us.
All right, I'm gonna give you a different spin that I thought of last night, and I don't know why I
Next thing you
thought of
know,
this.
we're eating Mongolian beef every Wednesday night. But anyways, go ahead.
All
I'm
right,
saying fried rice, fried rice. But go ahead.
so this man gets more information than probably anybody in the world as far as what's going on in the world. Talking
Mhm.
about President Trump. So what if he knows that we're in a nine-line bind when it comes to defending our country? And knowing this, he also knows a critical piece of being able to defend our country or defend yourself, period, is to be able to have energy.
Mhm.
Our strategic petroleum reserve was fucking just took down by Biden because he wanted to keep that cheap gas before the elections, right?
Right.
So I looked it up and it says the strategic petroleum reserve is roughly half where it should be right now, thanks to Biden and and all other shit. So we can hold up to 714 million barrels.
Right.
And we're up to roughly 400 million barrels right now. Still a ways off from the 714.
Yep.
And then what we stole from Venezuela was another 50. We're getting 30 to 50 that he's just going to give to us.
Mhm.
All right. We're just going to take 30 or 50. Then we're getting another 5 or 6 million barrels. So we're
From
getting
the
anywhere
fleet,
from,
yeah.
30 to 60 million barrels of oil, million barrels of oil that we can put in our strategic reserve just right
Right.
now. We don't have to do anything with it. We already got the oil.
Right.
Is that too far fetched to even think about?
That he's doing what again?
That we
I was
have to.
listening to all your numbers, and I guess I lost where
Okay.
you say he's trying to do. What do you think he's trying to do?
He's
What do
trying to
you
build up our strategic oil reserve because
Okay.
Biden dropped it so low because he knows that there's got some shit going on and everybody's assholes are puckering
Yeah.
and that he needs to get energy into this country in order for us to be able to fucking protect ourselves.
If we had to cut everybody off.
Yeah, well, if we had to go to war, period.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we had to like circle the wagons,
Yes, if we had to protect our country, could we do it with the energy we have?
well,
and then when you bring
you
in how
know
much
that or not.
energy AI takes and stuff. I mean, could this? I don't think this is far fetched. Now,
Do we
I don't believe this
do
is
we
the
have
case.
enough
But
oil? Well, do we have enough oil out in the Gulf and all that to
you would have to drill it. This is what I'm saying. This oil is here. This oil is ready to be processed.
It is, but how long does that last? I don't know how long 714 million barrels.
I don't know
if
how
we
long
get
it's
it,
going to last right now either. But I know that if we can fill up the 714 million barrels and there's some
it
shit
puts us
going
that
down,
much ahead. Yes,
we need to have at least 714 million barrels. We don't need to be at 400 million. You know what
I
I'm getting at?
understand. Yeah, I understand, but I don't know how much we consume daily.
I don't know. I don't know either. I'd have to Google that, but I'm just curious. I mean, is that because we also want Greenland? Why do we want Greenland?
He's not going to tell. They're not going to tell us if something's fixing to go down.
No,
because
they would be
yeah,
stupid to tell us that.
yeah. I don't want to know.
I don't want
I
to know
do.
either, but it's odd
But
to
I
me.
don't.
Why
No.
why do we care about Venezuela so much other than the fact that we want to get the drugs out? Okay, so we blew up a bunch of boats. We already stopped the supply of drugs. Now
Right.
why do we want to get Venezuela? Well, we want to get our oil infrastructure back that was stolen from us,
Yes.
by the regime.
Right.
Okay, that makes somewhat of sense. But
Not really, because it's not our country. So how is it
exactly,
ours?
that's what. So this makes sense to me, and it could be way out there, and I'm not telling everyone to go ahead and panic mode or anything. All two people that listen to us, it was just something I thought of. It's like, why would we be doing this? So if you're thinking 3 or 4D chess, is this where we need to be in order to support ourselves? Do we need Greenland? Do we need Greenland because it gives us a spot in the Atlantic Ocean to where we can shoot from, or we closer to the Arctic Ocean, so when they coming through with icebreakers, we can defend ourselves? That's how I start to think of this shit when I see these deals that he's doing.
Right.
And then he cut away from what it was, a whole bunch of, which I agree he should have. What it was,
The UN
66,
stuff, yes.
yeah, 66 groups that he cut away from that we no
Yes.
longer just going to give money to in the world.
And when he
So
did that last time, and then somebody else comes in and goes back to him. Why are we doing that?
yeah, I don't know.
Why are we wasting money on this stupid shit, man? Do it on something else. Dang. Stop it. What's his damn Bongino?
Nah, that right there, that was just some thing that I had in my head, but I'm not even gonna go over that one.
Okay. Sorry for teasing
That's all
people and
right.
then we don't even talk about it.
No, the
Well,
thing, my
I
notes are
don't
all screwed
understand.
up
I'm
tonight.
sorry. I don't maybe we can dig into him later because he still confuses me.
I watched Dan. I like Dan.
I know
So,
he's a good dude, but he still confuses me. Where is he at?
as
I
far as
know
what?
he wants to make America great again. And we don't always have to say that Trump is that, right? There's times Trump isn't MAGA.
Trump, he brought the MAGA movement though. So
He
when you
did,
look
but
at it,
there's times
he's
that
the
he's
symbol of the
slid out
MAGA.
of it.
I
Yes.
agree with that. I'm not going to argue that. And
So people need to
again,
stop.
that's from something that we don't. He's privy to so much information, and there's so much going on behind the scenes. And I'm not taking up for him by no means. He could be bought
Right.
off all I fucking know.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say, hey, look, he's not MAGA. I I see points where, and I agree with you. And yes, I mean that just don't seem right. That's not what I voted for.
Yeah.
But he did start a movement that brought, I mean, real. He brought
Brought
grassroots
people
people.
together. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I would
Yes.
not be part of this if it wouldn't be for him. Now, I wouldn't even
Right.
give a fuck about politics.
Yeah. We
So
wouldn't even be doing this if it wasn't for
no,
MAGA, right? So,
yeah, so I applaud him for that.
right.
But I agree, there are times that you look at him, you're like, man, what the fuck are you talking?
Yeah. What are you doing?
I don't
It's
vote. I
kind of
didn't vote for
like
this.
that one dude you played the video on. He's a big white dude with the beard, and he cusses a lot. He goes on
Oh
big
yeah, yeah,
rants.
yeah. I don't know his
Yeah,
name, but yeah.
yeah. I should have sent that one to you because he's calling Trump out again. Like, what are you doing here? Why are you doing this? Why you know what I'm saying? Where's the files? Where's this? We voted because you said this. Now deliver.
Yeah, I
You know
mean,
what I'm saying? You gave us hope. You gave us a movement to believe in. Now where's it's like these mind games, dude, back and forth. Like, I don't know. This
we gonna go over some shit tonight
okay.
that even blew my mind even more. And when it comes to government, I don't know if it really matters who's in office. It's still the same people pulling the strings, and we're not gonna go over the people pulling the strings tonight. We will get there, But last week we were talking and basically freely and what brought up about NGOs, and I wanted to discuss the NGOs a little bit more tonight because I think the two people that listen, they might not know
That
exactly
really
what the roles of the NGOs play and what goes on. And when we'll go over what the deep state is, and we're going to talk about that, just plain language, because we all talk about the deep state, but do we really know what the hell the deep state is? So I wanted to talk a little bit about that, and we'll go over some other things, and just see if we can make better understanding. And I hate to even say it this way about how well we're getting fucked all the time. But we're
sorry
gonna keep
people.
it simple.
Sorry you two people. We're probably gonna be a lot of language heavy tonight. Don't watch this in front of your kids.
Yeah, and
Well,
yeah,
this is
it's
just sensitive stuff, man. I'm tired of it, dude. I just really am. I'm really tired of it.
yeah.
I'm
Well, we're gonna
tired of the
start with
swamp and the deep state. Go ahead, start out with the deep state.
well, all right. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna skip all the introduction because we don't need all that. Well,
Yeah,
the
you
biggest
guys
thing
know
is
who we are.
no, it's not even an induction that. I mean, introduction to what we're gonna go into the deep state. But I mean, everyone works hard every day, and the government's going to take a big portion of that check. You know, they're going to get, let's just say 25% or more, and it's supposed to go to the greater good. You know, you sending that money out. We talked about the fraud earlier, but you give them their money, and what you supposed to have? You're supposed to have better roads. You're supposed to have good schools. You know, you're supposed to be protected. That's what pissed me off the other night. I was thinking there was this LifeLock commercial, a VPN commercial come on, and it talks about you need to get more protection, more protection. And I'm thinking, isn't this what I pay the fucking government for? To,
Yeah,
I mean, we have this many people that's doing all this cyber shit. Well, cyber fucking arrest them. You know
yeah,
why I got to keep buying shit to protect myself when I'm giving you all this fucking money and you're wasting? I don't want to go on that rant, but
yeah.
that one hit me hard the other night when I seen it. I'm like, man, this pisses me off. Every time I turn around, I got to buy something else to protect myself.
It's like
All right.
paying for insurance, having a vehicle incident, and then they want to cancel your insurance. You're like, I
Yeah.
thought that's what I paid insurance for.
Yeah,
So,
and
anyways, go ahead.
and that's mandated by the fucking government that you
Yeah,
got to have fucking insurance. All right. So first, let's put the scale in perspective because these numbers don't. These numbers of money gets thrown around all the time, and they're just so fucking massive, and
right.
we don't get the visualization of it. I mean, we're talking trillions of dollars that are getting wasted and spent on things that don't align with anything that you think your taxes are being used for. And so, if you, I want to go over um, visualizing the jump of a mere $100 to what $1 trillion is. So everyone can get a visualization of
Yeah, I
what
want to
it's
see
like.
this video. Yeah, this is
Well, hold on,
crazy.
we're gonna get to the video first, but for the
Oh,
people that
gosh
not
dang
gonna
it.
see the video, I'm gonna
You're going
explain it to you. Yeah, so a $100 bill, everybody I would assume knows what a $100 bill is. So it's the roughly is the thickness of a fingernail. And then $10,000 is a stack of $100 bills, and it's gonna be about I mean about a half inch thick. Okay, you can easily put that in your back pocket. Pretty
right.
reasonable, right? So $1 million. This
Mm,
requires 10,000 $100 bills. And if you stack that up, you know, one on top of the other, you're looking at about 3.5 feet, 43 inches.
hmm
And this could fit inside of a standard backpack you would use to go to school with or a briefcase. And then we go up to $1 billion. So $1 billion is 1,000 times larger than $1 million. The stack of $100 bills would reach approximately 3,583 feet high, over two-thirds of a mile. It would take a standard 10, it would take about 10 standard construction pallets to hold it all. And it's all these $100 bills were stacked taller than the Washington Monument. All right.
mm.
So that's $1 billion. $1 trillion. This number is 1,000 times larger than $1 billion. In a single stack of $100 bills, it would pile up 679 miles high. All right.
Mhm.
It'd go higher than the International Space Station. Okay. And when organized on pallets, $1 trillion requires approximately 10,000 pallets, which would occupy the space of an American football field. And these pallets would be double stacked with cash. All right. $1 trillion. So take a football field of $100 bills stacked on top of each other, the pallets stacked on top of each other. And that's what we pay in the national debt interest, just in the fucking interest every goddamn year.
That's not even paying it all, or that's not even nipping any of it. That's just the interest of it.
That's just the fucking interest.
Jeez.
Now, we don't think about it in that perspective. You know, we hear $1 billion, $1 trillion, but we don't think about how much money is that really? Because we throw it around so much, it became ingrained in our brain that it really wasn't much.
Right.
You know, it's just $1 trillion. So hold on a
Right.
second. Let me see if I'm gonna show you this video. Give me a second. I had to open it first.
I love videos.
I
It's like
like
pictures.
videos.
It's like pictures in a book.
Yeah, I like Rios.
Hey, you
Hey, you
guys.
guys. Be reading all
Rocky,
them books. Be book
Rocky
learning.
Road. Rocky Road.
All that book learning. I don't need all that
Yeah.
book learning. That shul. Who needs to go to shul?
Cool. Who needs to go
I
to
don't need
shul?
that shul.
That's like NGOs, dude. BINGOs. BINGOs.
I had to remember the fucking.
And
I didn't
Bingos
even
was
think
their
of that.
name. I know. That
Now I'm
sounds like
fucking every
some.
time I look at it, I'm gonna think of that now.
Good. I'm glad I
They gonna
got
say
that.
NGO and I'll be like
Yo,
BINGO.
NGO.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's the video. Make sure
Let me know you see it.
I see
All
it.
right. All right. Watch this
Hopefully we
shit. This
got
shit's gonna
volume.
blow your mind.
That the 100K lost me. 1 million.
Watch this shit.
A bit. Holy cow. Damn. Yeah, everything else was that little speck to the left, and that's crazy. It was.
That's a hell of a visual. Huh?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, we toss around those numbers all the time and don't really think about it. And that's a lot of fucking money.
Right.
And I that's interest money.
Yeah.
You know, we're not even talking about the debt. We're talking about just interest money.
Right.
So now that we know what this money looks like, let's talk about where this money is going. All right.
Right.
So have you ever wondered who actually runs, the day-to-day government? It's not the president of Congress. It's millions of everyday workers, in these all these huge three-letter agencies.
Mhm.
And they're called bureaucrats. And they're non-elected people, that's put in these positions. And we'll discuss that a little more. But that's where your bureaucrats come from, is from these three-letter agencies.
And it
And today
sounds
we're
like a
going,
bunch of assholes. That name just sounds like a bunch of assholes, doesn't it? Does it not?
yeah,
Real quick,
yeah.
sorry to cut you off, but I'm a bureaucrat.
I'm
You're an
a
asshole.
bureaucrat. Yeah, I'm an asshole.
You're an asshole. Go away.
All right, so today we're going to pull back tonight we're going to pull back the curtain on bureaucrats, the three-letter agencies like the CIA and groups called NGOs that get the government money to do work overseas. Some of this is helpful, but some of
Right.
it's pretty fucking shady. So let's start with this. I would assume that everyone's heard the term deep state, right?
Mhm.
So do you want me to can you give me your definition of deep state? Then I'll go into the actual definitions.
I'm I, in my mind, I kind of have a visualization of what I think it is, but I mean, have I ever looked up the definition or Googled it? No, I haven't, but I think it's just, it's where it's, like you said, the surface is what we see, the Congress, the Senate, the stuff like that. But we've talked about the people behind the scenes pulling the chains. To me, that's the deep state. The people
Yeah,
we
well,
don't see.
and yeah, no, the people that pull the strings are actually they must be like the deep state.
Right.
The deep state's made up, and not talking about conspiracy, just the people that's actually in there, the bureaucrats. It's shorthand for the unelected permanent government officials or elements that's in the government that makes the days go, everyday work. That makes
Right.
sense. They
Yeah.
just keep things running. Like the FAA tries to keep planes from crashing. Right?
Right.
That's their job, is to make sure that everything's safe with the planes. They're bureaucrats, because they're put in these positions by the government to make sure that the regulations for the planes to fly safely are met. They're the
Right.
residential experts for the planes, basically. And that sounds great, and that's what they're supposed to do. However, I mean, the deep state and the swamp. Uh, the problem is they get it. They can interpret. They can how you say interpret laws
Mhm.
in a broad manner, and they can make rules outside of Congress, and so they can bypass Congress, by gridlock, and it won't become a law. Think about like the ATF and going
Mhm.
back and forth on the force reset trigger,
Mhm.
and it does it meet a semi-automatic, or is it meeting the standard for one pull to one shot, one
Mhm.
pull to one shot, semi-automatic, and they keep going
Mhm.
back and forth. Then ATF keeps saying that this language has to be X, Y, and Z, and they'll lose in court, and they'll keep going back and forth. Well, why is this not voted on?
Mhm.
They're making a rule or a law to where you can't have a force reset trigger, whether you form or not. It doesn't matter. Just trying to give an example. All right,
Right.
and in the past, we've had some of these three-letter agencies, and I'm not going to say it's not happening now. They actually work with also with NGOs, non-government offices.
Mhm.
So we have the government offices, which are our three-letter agencies: the CIA, the FBI, um, what
NSA.
the other one? Yeah, NSA, people like that, FDA, DHS, IRS. All
Mhm.
right, you have all those guys. That's the federal
Mhm.
government,
Mhm.
and then you have NGOs, which are non-government. And the one we're going to talk about right now is NED, which is National Endowment for Democracy. It's created in 1983. So the government can actually work around Congress with the bureaucrats, the three-letter agencies. But
Mhm.
sometimes the three-letter agencies can't get done what they want to get done because of the federal law. So they might use an NGO
Mhm.
because they can do it. I know it sounds shady, but it happens more than you think. And the first example I have is the CIA and NED, the National Endowment for Democracy. And the connection was the CIA handles foreign intel and covert ops. Okay,
Mhm.
and NED, created in 1983, is a private NGO funded by Congress at roughly $300 million a year to promote democracy abroad. Through elections and media. Legitimately, they support human rights, but in the shadows, they do overtly what the CIA did covertly. The founder of the NED once quoted, "A lot of what we do today was done covertly 25 years ago by the CIA." The CIA, via NED, were accused of funding color revolutions in Ukraine, Venezuela, Hong Kong, and other U.S. interests. So, what is a color revolution? And let me know if this sounds eerily familiar regarding on what's going on here in the U.S. right now. All right. So, a color revolution is a popular, often nonviolent uprising in post Soviet or authoritarian countries using a specific color or symbol, like the Orange Revolution in Ukraine, to protest against the
Mhm.
government, usually after
Mhm.
disputed elections, aiming to achieve democratic change through mass protests, civil disobedience, and public demonstrations. These movements rely on uniting citizens, often students and civil groups, against corruption or authoritarianism, to demand fairer elections and reforms, frequently using internet communications and NGOs. And these are their tactics. First, there's a trigger. Examples: disputed elections or corruption scandals expose regime weaknesses. Then, second, then they mobilize. They get youth groups, students, and civil society unite by social media, internet tools, and symbols, colors, and flowers for
Mhm.
mass protests and civil disobedience. And then three, you get support networks. NGOs provide training in nonviolent resistance, election monitoring, and media strategies. Groups like OTPOR, I can't say it, they from Serbia, and then they inspired by another group called KMARA. I can't say that one, Kamara, I would assume. They out of Georgia and Pora out of Ukraine. Me, whenever I read this, and we can go through, what they did for, in Serbia and in Ukraine and Georgia if you want, but it sounds like the same shit they're doing over here.
Yeah.
They're getting young people to mobilize, and they're creating a problem. Yeah,
Right.
in the case of George Floyd, I mean,
Right.
that one sounds a lot like this. They
Right.
have an issue, they blow it up, and they try to overthrow basically the government by keeping it moving and making nonviolent, peaceful protest, which we all seen wasn't, and in
No.
some cases it might have been, but I mean, are they doing this shit to us?
Well, that's the problem, Brian, is you can't that's they think that hey guys, y'all go in there and cause like a nonviolent protest or whatever. Man, it always turns into stuff, man. It turns into vandalism and looting, and because you can't control everybody and you get people riled up. It's kind of like going to a concert. Some of the concerts you've been to, like uh or watch that oh, what was it? The Woodstock of
Oh
the
yeah,
last one they had?
99.
Yeah, when Limp Bizkit come out there and
Yeah,
and play
they
tear
play
stuff
break
up
stuff, huh?
or
Yeah,
break
break stuff.
stuff, yeah, break stuff, and what happened? That
They broke
crowd went
shit.
nuts and they broke shit. They tore that place down. You think they showed up to do that? They didn't
Yeah.
know they were gonna do that. It built up to that, and that's what happens. You get jacked up, you get your emotions start and then your mindset gets changed, right? So that's what I'm getting at is they they're not stupid. They say we're just there to do a peaceful protest. No, you're not. You're there to tear shit up. So go ahead.
All right. Well, that last one. So it says these three, and it lists those three color protests formed a clear chain of influence in the color revolutions. So it was youth focused, humor infused approach to nonviolent activism proved highly transferable, helping spark similar, though not always successful, movements elsewhere, such as in Belarus, Albania, and others in Kazakhstan, Lebanon, and beyond.
Mhm.
Many sources note that these groups emphasize nonviolent methods, but critics, especially from Russia and aligned perspectives, have accused them of being tools for Western soft power or regime change efforts, often linking them to funding or training from US based organizations like the National Endowment for Democracy, or NED. Remember this? You said the USAID? Remember
Mhm.
that one? That was a
Mhm.
big funder. Or you probably heard of this guy before, the Soros linked foundations.
Yep.
The movements themselves often describe their work as grassroots pro democracy efforts. Yeah, they had a lot of money behind them for grassroots, right?
Yeah.
Funding, they say, often comes from Western sources. Like we just said, the U.S. National Endowment for Democracy, USAID, and private foundations like George Soros. So, open social, like George Soros's Open Society Foundations, have provided millions for NGO training, media, and activism. Remember, Ned's founder admitted much of his work was done covertly by the CIA. In Ukraine's Orange Revolution, Ned spent 65 million supporting opposition. From a pro-Western view, these are legitimate fights against autocracy, promoting liberal democracy and human rights. However, Russia and China see them as a US-led hybrid warfare to destabilize rivals, encroach on spheres of influence, and install pro-Western puppets. I mean, we've been doing this a long time.
I
And
know,
it,
man.
it wasn't just Venezuela. And I'm sure right now in Iran, we have people over there agitating their guys. And I'm not saying these people probably don't deserve it. But at some point, the rest of the world's going to get tired of us fucking with them.
Yeah, we didn't just start this stuff, dude. This
No. And we even done it to ourselves. In the historical examples, we've discussed these before.
all
Operation Mockingbird.
yeah, all this shady stuff, dude. That's what we've been talking a bunch back and forth on these podcasts, right? All
Mhm.
this shady stuff has been going on probably the 40s, the 30s, the 50s. You don't know when it started. It's been
Like,
going on
probably
a long time though. And it just keeps getting more and more to the fact where I'd sit there and I said, Brian, how do people not know, or how do they keep doing it when we know it? And he's like, because it's the Fast and the Furious
it
effect.
is.
So it's just we're more exposed to it now. You know what I'm saying? We social media, things like that, we see this stuff that we didn't see it before.
I watched it wasn't an interview, it was the Ayatollah of Iran talking, and he was speaking about America and this influence over there in Iran right now. And he even stated that, he sees the issues that we have within our country.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand is we look at and I told you this, a couple weeks ago about when we went to Egypt. Well, not me, but when our guys went to Egypt and they didn't want to go back. Other
Mhm,
countries see our country and see all the issues that we have. And we see these issues, and I hate to even say this, is almost like fucking normal because we hear so much of this bad shit every day on
mhm,
television or on TikTok or Facebook, wherever you at, you hear bad shit all the time and it becomes so normalized. But when other countries see that we're shooting, our federal agencies are shooting somebody in a car, we don't know exactly what they're seeing, but they know that it can look, authoritarian, and they could show it as saying, "Hey, look what they're doing over there. They're taking away their freedoms. They're about to go on the brink of war." There's so much shit they can be feeding these people, the same way the shit, excuse me, that we get fed.
right.
So, man, it this war for the truth, I would have to say, is probably the worst thing that we have right now. Is you just
Mm,
so what is truth? I think
yeah,
that's the hardest thing. It's the easiest thing in the world to have.
right,
It's the hardest thing in the world to get. It's the
right,
fucking truth.
right.
So, some historical examples here in the U.S. is Operation Mockingbird, uh,
Mhm,
COINTELPRO, the Iran Contra arms selling. There was post 9/11. Remember when the NSA surveillance and no Snowden, he busted that up.
mhm,
And I mean, that's just a few of them here on our soil that we've had issues with our three-letter agencies. Okay, that they took their power and fucked with us. It's
right.
kind of fucked up, but that's what they did. So now
Mhm,
we have the NGOs, the non-governmental organizations in in the clean light. They're independent charities, advocacy groups like the Red Cross, and they provide aid and environmental nonprofits and shit like that. And agencies partner with them legitimately because NGOs are nimble. They have local expertise and handle tasks governments can't directly. Overseas they can have healthcare programs and disaster relief. But in the shadows, when they emerge in the shadows, when used as covers, like for the CIA when they funded the Cold War against cultural groups secretly, and
mhm,
recently billions to NGOs for migrant services with poor oversight. And this is how I wanted to bring it all together. Is when we go through it tonight, it's going to be based off of what was done over the border during the Biden administration.
mhm,
And if you don't know what happened, the border was pretty much just left wide open. And we're going to go into some details, but just giving you a run short. It was left wide open, and there was just caravans of people supposedly walking all the way across Mexico to come through the border. Now, there was
mhm,
millions and millions that came through the border in those 4 or 5 years, but they didn't walk all the way from the southern tip of Mexico to the northern tip of Mexico. They were aided the whole way by NGOs. Not only they were aided the whole way, they were aided in getting into Central America to cross Darien Gap, to get to these places, and a lot of it was paid by you. So
right.
we're gonna get to that too.
A
All
big
right, so
Uber bill.
yeah, it was a big of a bill. All right, so where was that? So
NGOs and border migration.
okay, yeah. So I was telling you how we was gonna go. We're gonna use the migration for that, but now I want to go back to George Floyd. Now I don't have any proof on this, and I'm just making an assumption based off of everything I read. and what we have lived through. But I'd be willing to bet that the George Floyd peaceful riots, you
Mhm.
know, and other similar protests in the US
Mhm.
were touched, if not fully funded, by an NGO, George Soros or both. You know,
Mm.
after going through all this, it's like, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck,
It
you
probably
know,
is a duck.
they probably a fucking duck.
Mhm.
So now we're going to do a little introduction to federal bureaucracy. So as we discussed, the U.S. government isn't just politicians in Congress or the president. It has this massive group of people that run, every day. And these guys are there because the people in Congress and Senate, majority of the time, are lawyers.
Mhm.
They don't know how to fucking fix an aircraft. They don't know nothing about the military. They don't know how to fucking milk a cow. So you get the FDA, you get Department of Defense, you get all these other three-letter agencies because they are the residential experts to handle that daily. You make the broad law and then you hand it to the expert to make sure it's right. Kind of like you would do at your company. Your CEO's making the broad, stroke, and then everybody's doing their part. It's the same thing here. Okay. So the problem is there's so many of these motherfuckers. There's 2.9 million of these workers in the federal government. All
Mhm.
right. Walmart employs 1.6 million.
Right.
All right. These motherfuckers got more people working in our bureaucracy than Walmart has fucking employed.
Yep.
That's pretty bad. I mean, that's all your money paying these people. And I'm not saying they're not doing good. And I'm saying some of them probably are fucking doing good. But a lot of them are probably just stealing our fucking money. You know?
Mhm.
So let's give them the benefit of doubt. So why do these government agencies exist? They were created by Congress under the Constitution to handle specialized jobs that lawmakers can't do themselves. Congress passes broad laws, but agencies fill in the details with expertise, like managing national parks as a National Park Service or ensuring food safety with the FDA. They exist for efficiency. Congress lacks the time or knowledge for everything, so the agencies provide objective analysis and consistent enforcement. Historically, they grew as the country faced bigger challenges like wars or economic crisis, starting from simple offices in the 1700s. And this is how we get people like Anthony Fauci to be able to tell us that we got to put another jab in our arm. It,
Right.
it they become part of these three letter agencies.
Right.
The Department of Defense is the largest, and that's just the civilian support of 773,000.
Right.
That's not the military. That is just the Department of Defense,
Right.
773,000. And then Veterans Affairs, 483,000, and Homeland Security is 228,000. And you can see there's a bunch of motherfuckers, 2.9 million people that we paying in this bureaucracy. And I'm not saying that they're not needed, you know, but the problem is you get these people in, and I don't care what department they're working in, they're they're still going to have a bias on where they want to be. And if they become activists and they stay in that role for, I say 20 years, let's just say simple 20 years. Let's just go through what Trump's going through right now. Let's say the FBI. Let's just say the FBI was corrupt before Trump got in office. Trump gets in the office, you got Patel there, and they're going to fucking clean the son of a bitch up. And how many people just said they got in the FBI? Did it say?
115,000.
So 115,000 people. All right. Out of that 115,000 people, how many of them you think don't support Donald Trump or whatever he says? If you believe what they tell you in the media, it's 50-50 in this country, right?
Yeah.
So you'd believe 50% of them wouldn't support him. But
Yeah.
even if
So
you had 25,
75,000. Yeah.
yeah, so even if you had 25% that wouldn't support him, that's still a lot of fucking people that would go against you. And all they got to do is hold on until you get out of office and they can do what they need to do. So they just make your job, they make what you're trying to get done harder for you to get it done.
Yeah.
And they wait for you to get out of office and
Well, we talked about leaking information. Like, how do these caravans that are trying to impede ICE, how are they finding out where ICE is
yeah,
going to be? Well, that right there,
yeah.
right there.
And that's the think that's the real reason of the success of the Trump administration is they understand that, so they keeping all their information close to their chest. You
Well,
know?
here's the deal on that though, Brian. Like you're in my company, we don't get to decide what our company and believes in or whatever. Now we get to decide whether we work there. So if it ever got bad enough, you could leave and quit. But right now we're not. And we've talked about our company stances on, we know there's politics and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I still have to do my job to the policies and procedures and all that my company sets forth, right? To be employed. So it doesn't matter who your boss is, you still got to do your job. So them not supporting Trump, you still got to do your job. You're not working for the president to me. You're working for the company, which is America. Agree?
Yep,
When
I agree.
when you're in this government position, you're working for America, not a president, not a Democrat, not a Republican. You keep that shit to yourself and you take it to the polls when you go vote. Other than that, you do your damn job. And if you don't like your new procedures and policies, maybe that got changed, then leave, quit, go find something else that aligns with your beliefs or whatever. Other than that, do your damn job. That's all I got to say about it. And they're not. Like you said, they can buck the system and cause problems.
Yeah, then and I think a lot of it is they don't fear of losing their jobs because I mean, have we heard in the past that government jobs are forever? We would always make jokes about this ain't a government job. So maybe they feel like they can't get rid of me. I'm doing my job. I'm just not doing it the way they want me to do it.
Right.
Maybe they had that protection, or maybe they actually couldn't get rid of them, and they knew
Right.
that. I don't know. I mean, with our jobs, we don't do what you're supposed to do. You fucking gone.
Yeah, that's what
But
I'm saying. Like our AVP will say, instead of being an employee, you're going to become a customer.
yeah, but they
And
know
I'm
that.
fine with their saying, yeah. Well, then that needs to stop. Maybe we need to relook at how the bureaucrats are put together, right? You have a job, you don't maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe a law needs to be put into place. You don't work for a party. You don't work for the Democrats or Republicans. You work for America. And if
Yeah,
you don't do
exactly. I
your
agree
damn
with that.
if you don't do your damn job, you're gone.
It's just now everybody's a partisan hack. And I agree. Remember when I was in, and I'm sure it's still the same way in the Marine Corps and military period. I mean, you couldn't support either side, or you couldn't show
Right.
support of either side.
Right.
So I would assume it would be, the same. I would
Like I
assume.
said, every morning going back and forth to the head or past that wall where all the pictures was, I had to say good morning, sir, to Bill Clinton. Was I a Bill Clinton supporter? No, I wasn't. I wasn't supporting anybody at the time, but I knew that family was shady as hell. But I still had to say good morning, sir, because if I didn't, I get smoked on that quarter deck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So you had to I you don't it's in the military. You don't respect the person, but you respect the rank. You know
yeah.
what I'm
And
saying?
you have no choice. I mean,
Yeah.
that's your commander in chief at that point.
Yeah.
I mean,
He the leader.
yeah, he's the leader. I don't go no further than him.
Now
So,
he can have extramarital stuff in the White House and not get
go him.
NJP'd or impeached or whatever. Like if we do that, I mean, was that not a rule? If you were found guilty of adultery or what, you could get in trouble for that, couldn't you? For
Yeah,
cheating?
you could. Yeah,
Yeah. It was actions unbecoming of a Marine.
he wasn't a
But
Marine.
yeah, he was the commander in chief, though. I mean,
He wasn't held to the same standard of the Marine Corps.
yeah,
That should tell you enough right there that the president of the United States not held to the same standard of the United States Marine Corps.
right.
There you go. All right. So how did these motherfuckers work together?
I don't
We
know.
we discussed the NGOs, all right, and we
Mhm.
discussed the bureaucracy of the three-letter agencies. I know we've been going back and forth a lot, but on go over how sometimes they cross the line so we can get into this migration stuff because this is gonna piss you off too. Not this portion, but the migration stuff. So as we when they crossed the line, there's a historical case where intelligence agencies like the CIA used NGOs as covers for spying or influence, like the Cold War culture groups, funded secretly to fight communism or a humanitarian group used for intel in North Korea. Yes, it took a humanitarian group and used them to spy on North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because no one can get into North Korea. So they took this group to cover up spying on North Korea, and it was the Humanitarian International Services Group, the HISG. It was a Christian NGO based in Colorado Springs. According to a major 2015 investigation by The Intercept, based on interviews with former military intelligence officials, aid workers, and documents, the Pentagon, not the CIA directly, ran a highly classified program from 2004 to 2013 that funded and used HISG as a front for espionage inside North Korea. The
Mm-hmm.
goal was to gather intelligence on the country's nuclear program and the military capabilities, as North Korea was one of the hardest intelligence targets for the U.S., with officials describing it as having zero assets inside the country at the time. So, to some of the key details is the founder and the leader, Kay Hiramine, an evangelical Christian, was on the Pentagon payroll for years. He used the HISG's legitimate humanitarian work, disaster relief, medical supplies, clothing shipments to gain access to North Korea, where few outsiders could operate. How it worked. He coordinated shipments and travel, including his own visits in 2007, 2010 under humanitarian cover. He reportedly tapped unwitting Christian missionaries, aid workers, and even Chinese smugglers to move equipment. Without them knowing, it was part of a secret operation. Funding millions were funneled to HISG through a complex web of private trusts and nonprofits to hide the Pentagon's involvement. Recognition. HISG even received the President's Volunteer Service Award in 2007 from President George W. Bush for its humanitarian efforts, while Hiramine was secretly working as a Pentagon asset. Experts criticized it as endangering legitimate aid workers and putting lives at risk if discovered. The program was shut down in 2012 to 2013 by Admiral William McRaven. He led the Bin Laden raid, I found out, and reportedly due to fears of exposure. HISG was shuttered around 2013. So this was the Pentagon operation, not the CIA alone, though it drew comparisons to CIA historical tactics. It sparked outrage from NGO associations like Interaction, who called it beyond the pale and a violation of trust. No other major humanitarian NGO, Red Cross, Amnesty International, UNICEF, or Doctors Without Borders, have been credibly linked to espionage in North Korea in public reporting. The HISG case stands out as the primary documented example. So they, this dude, he's a Christian guy, right?
Yeah.
He's recruiting people to go on this humanitarian work in North
To
Korea.
spy. To spy.
Yeah, to spy. But he's not telling them that. They're doing
Right.
humanitarian work. So
Right.
he's putting their lives at risk. And you can about imagine if you got caught by the North Koreans, what would probably happen to you for spying. And this Christian guy was saying, here you go, guys. You know, just go do the Christian thing, go help these people out, knowing that there's a good chance that they might not come home.
Right.
And he's just lining his pockets.
Right.
Is that the Christian way?
No, it's not supposed to be. I mean, it's wrong as wrong can be. I mean, we shouldn't be.
It's fucked up. And the reason I'm asking that is because as we go further into this shit, you're going to see a lot more about the Christians. And I'm not blaming Christians. What I'm
No.
blaming is they're using the cover
Yes.
of Christianity to get the
Yes.
money.
That's not true Christianity. So that's like I said, we're saying people that claim that name, but they're not. I mean, Brian, here's what's funny. Preachers will tell you or say this during service, and it hurts, but there's people in the church that show up every Sunday, every time the doors are open, they're there, that's going to hell.
Oh,
Because
I would agree with
they're
that.
they're just checking off a box, man.
Me and Jennifer had that conversation, but in a different way the other day, and I don't want to go deep into that, but yeah, I agree with that.
Hey, we had Bible study Friday night at my buddy's house. We got to go back to that because holidays and flu and all that we missed. But anyways, it was funny. One of my other buddies was given the lesson last night, and I won't go deep into the lesson, but one of the last things that him and then his wife made a comment too in the crowd, right? That it's it's so sad that you'll find more welcoming. It's more welcoming to go to a bar than it is to go to church. You
It
feel
is.
more welcomed and more loved at a bar by complete strangers than when you go to church.
Especially if it when you're going into a foreign, not foreign, but like foreigner, but like a bar you've never been in before for the
Yes,
first time.
and a
You
church that you've
and a
never been
church
in
for the
before.
yeah, I agree
Yes,
with that statement. It
and
is
it's
sad when you
way
think of it that
yeah,
way.
yeah, that a bar will welcome you like the people inside. They're not getting paid to do that. It's just everybody. It's common ground. They're what was where they're glad to see or where everybody knows your name.
Cheers.
Cheers, yeah. Wonder why there wasn't a church series where everybody knows your name because they don't. Because they don't care. Because it's a country club.
Yeah. It is in a way. Now that you say that, it is in a way. It's they
You know,
gotta go just be so somebody else sees that they're there,
right?
and says, "Yeah, I seen so and so there. Yeah, they go every week." It doesn't matter. It's just they check in a box, and
Yeah,
it's sad. And I could be someone that I don't really like church, and I don't want to go to church, and I don't believe I need to go to church to be a good person. And this person's going to tell me I'm going to go to hell, and they're a worse person than me, but their only accomplishment is they go to church.
right.
You know, they treat everybody like shit, but they go to church, so they're going to go to
Yeah,
heaven.
yeah. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't go. I'm saying the church needs to change. The church needs to look how it's handling people and how it's doing. And you need to talk to the normal people going and that needs to be taught. It needs to be addressed that listen, we are really struggling with people coming in. You you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
and not we're not making them feel welcome and loved.
we're going to have to
And
make
there's
this
a
two
yeah,
parts. We might have to make it three parts.
well, we're an hour and 35 minutes into this. I'll shut up. Keep going. Where are we at with BINGO?
All right, so where we were going to go with it, where we're going to go now is we're going to go into how Biden gave billions to the border, and basically we opened up the borders and we used the NGOs to bring these people in, and it is bad enough that we brought these millions of people in.
Hmm.
But what I want to focus on tonight are the unaccompanied minors. All right,
Right.
so we have taxpayer funded groups that didn't just handle migrant aid. They were the government's go-to task for like processing unaccompanied kids that agencies couldn't or wouldn't do directly, all while skirting the congressional oversight. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to cover this massive surge of unaccompanied minors and how many of them went missing, and spotlight some of the serious suspect funding deals that smell like profiteering and mismanagement. So let's see where the money went. So under President Biden or under the Biden Harris administration, the
Yes.
NGOs raked in over 6 to 8 billion from the DHS, the HSS, the FEMA, and State Department for Migrant Services, plus billions more internationally via UN plans like 1.4 billion regional refugee and migrant response plan for 2025. Listen to these top recipients. So we had the Catholic Charities Network. The affiliates got tens of millions, and these are the San Diego diocese with 21 million in one round overall. You got the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops linked to groups pulled 638 million federally on the Biden. And they got Endeavors. Endeavors is a faith-based organization providing social welfare. 90% of its funds come from our federal government. Their revenue jumped from 52 million in 2020 to 1.18 billion in 2022. Y'all remember that chart we were talking about and how tall the difference is between a million and billion?
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
52 million in 2020 to 1.18 billion in 2022. Then we have Southwest Key Programs. It's one of the largest Latino-led nonprofit organizations in the United States, and it's 99% federally funded. And it snagged 3 billion just for child shelters. And the Youth and Human Services alone dished out 22.6 billion in grants from 2020 to 2024, including for unaccompanied minors. 12.4 billion total there. Other big players like International Rescue Committee, their slogan was now more than ever, refugee families need our support. Families help families survive and donate now. They got 598 million since 2020. And Church World Service. Church World Service is a faith-based organization transforming communities around the globe through just and sustainable responses to hunger and poverty. They got that little old $355 million. These funds exploded. Three major NGOs went from 597 million combined in 2019 to 2 billion in 2022, turning humanitarian work into a booming industry. They were taking our money, giving it to these NGOs, to go ahead and, all right, let's bring these people, across. So let's talk about what they actually did with this fucking money. So they stepped in post border crossing, running shelters, providing food, medical care, legal aid, bus plane tickets, and even paid prepaid debit cards up to $5,000 or cash vouchers. Then overseas, the U.S. backed NGOs aid migration. They aided migration routes in Latin America, which critics say pulled people north. So what there was is do a little research. There's the Darien Gap that they would have them go through in Central America, and then they would get to the spot, and there was a bunch of tents and shit that was set up, and this was weird. And they had a correspondent, some reporter that went check it out, and I watched the video back then. And so they have all these tents set up, and you go to the tent of basically of your nationality that NGO was actually supporting, and they would give you a phone and money and tickets and like the stuff that you would carry. And like if they wanted to show you walking, they had like a truck that was carrying everything. That's why whenever you see a caravan, they would like be in flip flops or a backpack. That's all they had, is because they didn't have to walk for it. They were just doing that shit for a video or something. They were just
Right.
walking through a town and dumb shit like that. These NGOs
Right.
were giving them everything they needed to make it through Mexico. Then when they got to the border, there was more NGOs there to greet them.
Right.
And bring them in the country and give them all this money. So they're giving, not only are they like feeding them in one side, they're giving them money on the other side when they get here so they can get their lives started.
Right.
So I just want to focus on the company miners, but I'm bringing it all up because you got to see the big the big scale of it. It's a lot of people that they brought in, and they made a lot of fucking money. But out of all that, what pisses me off more is these fucking miners. That's the reason why I'm focused on it. So I don't want to lose focus on the big thing, but I really want to focus on these miners. So you tied in the unaccompanied minors. NGOs handled nearly 100% of shelter operations for these kids via the U.S. Department of Human Health and Services and the Office of Refugee Resettlement. From fiscal year 2021 to partial fiscal year 2025, about 547,000 unaccompanied minors were encountered at the border and funneled through NGO-run facilities for care and release to sponsors. Releases hit around 500,000 plus, with kids staying 28 to 60 days on average before handover. So the peaks are like 149,000 in fiscal year 2022, and they dropped down to 96,000 in 2024, and around 20,000 or so in 2025 after the policy shifts. I mean, Trump comes into office and he shuts a lot of the shit down. And they were all processed by NGOs like the Southwest Key that we talked about and Endeavors. So now we have, they were unaccompanied, but now
Mhm.
we got unaccounted for. All right. So now they take these minors and they just send these kids to stay with people. They were trafficked, if you ask me.
Mhm.
They say up to 325,000 of these kids were lost under the Biden Harris administration. 85,000 of them were uncontractable after 30-day checks. 291,000 without court dates. 32,000 no shows and hearings. And you can't tell me that these fucking kids wasn't sold or trafficked or exploited. It, this is sick, in my
Mhm.
opinion. Now, since Trump took office, they've located over 129,000 of these previously missing kids that was through the audits. They rescued 35,000 of them that were trafficked, mostly young girls, but 500 of them were retained for safety. NGOs vetted sponsors, but they face blame for gaps like incomplete background checks or ignoring abuse reports. There was 65,000 unanswered hotline calls.
Mm.
So we're giving them this money to take care of these kids to bring them across the border, and these kids get lost
Yeah.
in traffic. Were we really giving them the money for these kids to be taken safely across the border, or were they
No,
giving the money to traffic these fucking kids?
no, like I said, we talked about that trafficking issue, like the Sound of Freedom show. That was over in Mexico or wherever, but it's happening here, man. I mean, and that's what's scary and sick and disgusting about this is they're using church religious NGOs to do this. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, they hiding behind the
The
Christianity.
shield, the shield of the cross. And that's not what that cross is for. And it just pushes more and more people away that don't believe in the gospel and doesn't believe, because how could a group of people do this? It's not, people listen to me, that's not Christian. That's, anybody can sit there and take up that and use it and say that they are, and this is what we're doing, and do wrong things. uh, you can't vet, you know what I'm saying? There's no law saying that you can't call yourself a Christian and then go
Yeah.
do something bad. There's no law against that. So don't sit there and use that. This is a whatever. This is a cover. It's smoke screen.
Oh, it is definitely it's mirrors, smoke
It's
and mirrors.
mirrors, smoke and mirrors. It's sleight of hand. And the reason why they're using them, so you won't question what it was at. Oh, that's Christian. They're good. They're doing, we talked about this in other ones. You hear that and you let them off the hook.
Well, hell, that other Christian group sent those damn people over to North Korea to spy.
Yeah.
Told them they were going to do humanitarian work.
Yeah. That's not what they were doing. And I guarantee the people that there's no way they recruited the normal humanitarian people to go over there and do that. There's no way them people would have been able to do that.
Well, let me ask you this: I got
They had
two.
trained people, trained spies looking like they were humanitarian people with that.
Oh yeah, yeah. They wasn't you. They were just they were just the cover for who they had
Yes,
over there as a
yes,
spy. Yeah.
yes, yes. It's like, real quick, people, if we could say this, like the van outside your, the cable van or the plumbing van or whatever outside in your neighborhood that might have CIA or FBI in it. That's all this is. Just because they put Joe's Plumbing or Cox Communications or
Yeah.
Charter Cable on the side of their vehicle doesn't mean that's what it is. It's a cover up. So don't sit there and please saying, well, that's why I don't go to church. That's why I don't believe in Jesus Christ. is because of this. That's wrong. Don't let this do that, right? Because at the end, I'm sorry, your salvation is more important than all this. But anyways, go ahead, Brian.
All right, so I'm actually two questions before we get
Okay.
moving, but hold on. First, I'm gonna say I'm gonna preface this by saying they let this is all right. I think they allowed a lot more fucking people through this country than what I'm about to say. I'm gonna preface with that,
Right.
but from everything that I read and the most consistency, so I'm not trying to be too far fetched. During the Biden administration, they allowed 12 to 14 million illegals, maybe more with the gotaways, into the U.S. during their time frame. You know, it was 2021 to 25. My question is why? Why'd they leave? Why'd they bring them here? And were those kids being sold? I mean, do you think those kids were being exploited or sold? I'm just curious.
Yes. Yes. Because if that many kids were coming over without parents, if it was families coming over, that's one thing, but it, dude, you're talking about an odd number of kids coming over without parents. How did
Did you
that
follow?
even?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a. Did you follow any of this? Did you see like the rape tree and stuff like that when they were coming from the?
No,
Uh,
no, the stuff that I was seeing was military age men, like, and they weren't even Mexican, they were Arabic coming across the border.
yeah,
That's what
that
I
too.
was seeing. I
But
didn't catch the kid stuff. I'm not gonna
uh,
lie, I didn't.
Bill Malugin was deep into that stuff. He's actually with Fox Network now, but he would go out there, and I mean, he was when I say deep, he was going into the actual border, and he was filming a lot of the stuff, and I mean, he had some sick shit, and they were exploiting the fuck out of these kids, man, and it is sad that these
Right.
kids had to go through this shit, and to know that our money paid for this shit's even worse,
I
and
know, and Kamala wouldn't even go to the border, remember?
I've been to the border.
Yeah, bullshit.
But I haven't been to Europe either. Whatever the fuck she said, she didn't go.
Yeah. She had yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I remember that dumb shit. All right. So I just wanted to see if you was on the same page with me, if you thought the
No.
same, because I think this shit
Yes.
is sick.
It's
It pisses
it's
me off,
disgusting. Yes, it is.
and it goes hand in hand with all this shit that we keep hearing about this pedophilia and how they want
Mhm.
to normalize this shit. And how
Mhm.
big is this? How big is this pedophilia? Is this part of it? Were they
Right.
selling these kids into, these big name families or even worse, sacrificing these kids? I hate to be sick about it, but I mean, why? Why were all these kids let into our country unaccompanied?
Right.
And not, these people wouldn't, but there's a fucking reason behind it. Why aren't we trying to find that out? Or if we are trying to find it out, why isn't somebody saying that they are trying to find this shit out? Or as you stated, or not enough people know about this,
Right.
you know?
Right.
All right. So now let's talk about how the governments they use the NGOs to sidestep Congress, and we're going somewhere with this. All right. So Congress often blocks or caps direct funding for expansive release or resettlement programs.
Right.
So the executive branch dodges this by routing billions through existing pots like the HSS grants and FEMA shelter program. They take this money and they go to NGOs via no bid contracts. All right. And then the NGOs do the dirty work, like processing the minors and transporting migrants, resettling without new laws.
Mhm.
And then, so the example is, they take 500,000 unaccompanied kids. The government couldn't scale the shelters fast enough, so they go to the NGOs and they create the policy on the ground that Congress reacts to later. All right, so there's no need for the votes, so they make the migrant aid bills, and it's buried in humanitarian grants. It's it's a big web of just shit, but that's how they moving their money around. So there's a quote that says, "As hearings revealed, quote, NGOs turned the border into a pipeline," end quote, and they were partnering with feds to move people inland while profiting all outside of tight oversight. And now we're going to dive into the specifics, the scandals and the red flags. All right, so these aren't just big bucks and audits and probes uncover profiteering and abuse and waste. The HHSs 22 billion spree included spurges like matching savings for cars or $15,000 business loans, home loans, and credit repair. Critics call it a magnet for more crossings with little accountability. So the phrase of, and I had to look this up because I didn't understand it when I first read it. I'm like, all right, so I'm reading all this stuff and it says, splurges like matching savings for cars. And what that refers to is the HHS's $22 billion spree, including it refers to a controversial report about how the Department of Health and Human Services allocated over 22 billion in grants to non-governmental organizations, NGOs, for settling migrants, asylum seekers, and other refugees in the United States. According to a report by the New York Post, these funds include programs that offered financial assistance for various personal expenses. Specifically, matching savings for cars refers to dollar for dollar matching savings plans for major purchases such as cars, homes, college educations, or starting a new business. So these motherfuckers were not only giving them loans and all this other stuff. If you was going to spend money, they were going to match it.
Right.
Now, how many times you think that they just fucking said they bought something and got it matched? No, we spent $10,000 on this. There was no fraud in that at all, ever.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever. I'm sure it was clean, Brian.
So other associated splurges or services reportedly covered by some of the 1.7 billion in funds directed through these programs include small business loans up to $15,000, and then credit repair loans up to $1,500. And then they would have cultural orientation and emergency housing support, legal assistance, and Medicaid care. These specific programs were reportedly available to qualifying migrants who had been in the U.S. for several years, were employed, and met certain income stipulations. The reporting on the spending characterized it as a spree or wasteful spending by the Biden administration, sparking political debate.
Right.
So let's talk about the Southwest Key programs. They got $3 billion for kids shelters, but the executive salary spiked 139%. The I can't say this abbreviation good enough. HHS, they halted placements after sexual abuse and harassment allegations by the DOJ. So that's how they did that with Southwest. And Endeavors, the one we talked about earlier, their revenue exploded to 1.18 billion. That was the 97% federal. They were paid $18,000 a month. Well, they paid $18,000 a month for an empty migrant shelter in 2025. Allegations, inadequate vetting, no fingerprints, exposing kids to illicit activities, shielding adults from ICE, and ignoring abuse reports led to DOJ investigations for waste. There's your word again, waste.
Yeah.
Catholic charities, affiliates got millions. Overall Catholic linked groups like USCCB got 638 million. And in 2025, funding frozen for Rio Grande Valley branch over major grant violations and misconduct, accused of facilitating illegal entries, with Texas pulling funds amid trafficking claims. Other suspects: the Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service, that was a global refugee, 340 million in fiscal year 2024. Over 95% of that was from our government. They were blamed for asylum abuse. The IRC, 411 million fiscal year 2024. 598 million since 2020, tied to wasteful perks. And then there was the HIAS, 113 million fiscal year 2024 for resettlement, alleged trafficking initiatives. I'm sorry, for resettlement, alleged trafficking incentives. Hearings called out how these groups got 50 to 99% federal cash, boosting executives' pay while failing kids. Big picture, no bid deals, unanswered abuse hotlines, fraudulent docs. Experts say is profiteering from crisis, with NGOs as enablers in a $6 billion funnel that bypassed Congress and enabled trafficking. That's all that was trafficking kids. That's
Yeah.
all that was. We
Man, I
spent
think it was more than
billions.
that though. I think you got on here voter replacement. Yeah, I
Oh
think
yeah,
that was going on. I think that
I
was
think
going on. I think they were letting military age foreigners in here for there might be some sleeper cells in here. You know what I'm saying?
oh, man, as far as sleeper cells, yes. I mean,
They
that
were let
and voter and that,
everybody
voter replacement, I
drugs,
believe that. Oh,
child
drugs, yes.
child sale or whatever we're calling it. Like I mean, it's or
They
trafficking,
when
child
we would watch
trafficking for the elite voters, all this stuff, man. It was like hey, it was like a Costco. They went to the border was Costco. What do you want? Yeah, we got it all. Come on, and we got it in bunches.
when
Then
we
you
would
use
watch the
these NGOs to damn haul them over here. They were over in Central America and all that, getting them all set up.
it was a scheme. It was an elaborate scheme. It wasn't just a bunch of people, just going there. And if I want to look into the men and the women that came over here, and because they've showed it before on how NGOs paid for them, to get to Central America. So they couldn't fly them like all the way into
Well,
Mexico. So they had to make a little bit of a trek. That's why they had the Darien Gap.
right.
And then they would bring them through Mexico and shit like that. And then how
Well,
many we flew into our country, just flew them in our country.
yeah. So, Brian, does this happen if Trump wouldn't have won that first election?
No, I think, I think things would have been a little different. Uh, I think they still bring the people in. I don't know if they funnel them in like this. I think they just open the border, but they don't push them in.
Yeah. Not to this extent.
Not to this extent, no. I think that this was an attempt to change the voters in the United States to where they'll never lose an election again. And,
Right.
and inside of that, they were able to traffic all these fucking kids, bring over all kind of fucking drug money. I was gonna say earlier, I remember watching them at night and then like Malugin, and then we'll go down to Rio Grande, whatever the hell it is, where they go across the water,
Yeah.
and they would have the damn cartel and the coyotes on the other side laughing at Border Patrol,
Yeah.
bringing those people over because they knew they couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
It was like a big joke to them. It was it was
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
Things change now. So now what a big shift is, Trump come in and he froze a lot of those NGO grants, and he stopped funding to the accused groups like the Catholic charities. He
Right.
cut them off, and he shut the border down. So I
Right.
mean, it doesn't matter if they funding them or not. They're not getting across unless they're coming across legal. And I'm not saying they don't have, a few people probably getting across. You can't stop everybody, but it ain't nothing like it was, year or two ago.
Man, I'm not trying to get weird here, but every once in a while, like it happened last week and it just happened while you were talking. Something went across my headset and it wasn't you talking and it wasn't me and it wasn't nothing in this room. This room's quiet other than the fan running on my computer.
Think
Like
it's the
I heard
feds.
somebody talk. Yeah, I ain't kidding. I heard somebody like faintly talking. I heard every word you said, but somebody underneath you was, yeah, I don't know who the heck that is. And I don't know what's, I told you, man, we might be talking about some stuff and then somebody's looking at us. Brian
I
done
don't
going
think they
too
got to
deep
worry
and getting
about
us in
us.
trouble.
Me, you, and
Well,
our two guests. No, our
yeah,
two
it's where it
audience
starts.
member.
It's where it starts, man.
It is where it starts.
Jesus took 12 dudes and look what he did.
There you
So
go.
don't ever underestimate what we can do. So, anyways,
All
yeah,
right, so
go
we're gonna
on.
close this one out. So
All right.
I, I hope everyone understands, all this a little bit. I know it might have been rocky back and forth, and I hope we were able to explain this in a clear manner. Now, there's nothing we can do about this. Hopefully, Trump is doing more and more to get this shit under control. I'm sure Doge helped out a lot. I think a lot of them going in and gutting USAID might straighten up a lot of these NGOs. I think a lot of this that's going on with the fraud right now with the Somalis and all the other fraud they find in the United States, like we discussed earlier in our current events. I think that's going to help out a lot. And hopefully it's going to slowly and slowly, stop a lot of this stuff. But the problem is, and this is a good problem, it's going to start uncovering the people that's actually behind it.
Mhm.
And some of these people that's actually behind it, we might be surprised to see. And you got to keep your mind open that a lot of these people don't like you. I'm not going to say hate you, but they don't like you. They just want your money. And it's the only reason why they want you to vote for them so they can stay in a position of power and then just rake your money in and just let you be broke. And they'll just
Mhm.
keep spending their money where, the way they would, way they may. They think they're better than you. And until we all understand that it's not a us against, us fighting each other, it's us against them war, then we're never going to get anywhere. I mean,
Right.
this is me and you. I mean, we're on the same level. These billionaires and these career politicians, they don't give a flying fuck about us. Not
Mm-mm.
1 ounce of fuck. So,
Mhm.
you got anything more to say about this one, Jason?
No, I mean, it's this is beyond. I mean, if your eyes aren't getting open to how corrupt this crap is, then it's got to stop, man. And we got to start holding our elected officials responsible and accountable for this stuff. And if you're not pushing, then we get you out of there. We're not going to keep voting. And I don't care if we got to vote somebody else in, maybe we're not really too keen on, because I'm tired. Are you not tired of voting for the lesser of two evils, Brian?
Oh, well, I can't say that because I haven't been voting very long, but I, I
Well, I'm just
I'm
saying,
tired of
sometimes,
only having the lesser of two evils option because that's
yes,
why I didn't vote.
right,
If that makes
right.
sense.
Yeah. So let's stop doing. I mean, if this dude didn't do it and you thought he was a lesser of two, then when he's up, d- I don't care who's in there, vote for them and get him out of there and just prove a point. We're not going to tolerate you going up there and being part of the machine.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just
But
hope that we have enough time to vote our way out of this problem. I
I
don't know
don't.
if we have enough time to vote our way out.
It's so deep. I mean, how would you get everybody out of there? How would
Uh,
you do a full reset? I mean, I wish they could. I wish they could go up there and just fire everybody and full reset that thing. But I mean, because think about it. The Congress and Senate don't run us. I mean, they don't. I mean, if if
no,
if
it's
if another country came at us, we got generals and all that stuff and to handle that crap. I'm sorry, Hegseth, even though he was in the military, we don't need him to make military decisions. They can do that. These generals, like the commandant of the Marine Corps and the Navy admiral, the commandant of the Navy, or the commandant of the Army, all that, and the Air Force, whatever they call themselves, they can handle that stuff enough for us to get what we need to get done. Just go in there and clean the whole. I mean, I don't just get them all out, take them all out. And
I
Trump
guess
don't
the only
even
way
need
to
to
get them
worry
all
about the
out.
ones that support him. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I support you. I support. No, you're bad too. You didn't. You were doing some shady shit before I got in
Y'all
here, so
gotta
you're gone.
go.
You're
Y'all
gone.
gotta
See you.
go.
See you. Yeah, you're the weakest link. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You're out. You're fired. Yeah, like that Trump thing, that show he used to have. You're fired. You know what I'm saying? Just
Oh yeah.
clean
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Clean it.
The Apprentice.
Yeah, The Apprentice.
All right.
You're done. But go ahead.
So it'd be like, well, thanks for joining us. This was Sense and Senseless. We appreciate it. Jason, you got anything?
Nope.
Nope. Well,
Nope.
like, subscribe, or whatever else you got to do. Share, follow. Just Sense and Senseless.
Comment.
Peace.
Peace.